Once, in ancient old times, a king lived in a big kingdom. He was not only very rich, but very kind too. He often donates and helps all of his poor citizens. He had a wife with 2 sons. Everything was going well, but he was sad from many months, and because of his sadness, not only his health was suffering, but all of his ministers and his wife also remained upset. So, one of his senior ministers finds a solution and suggests him to visit a very famous monk. The king immediately agreed. So the king visited the monk and told him about all of his problems. The monk was very wise. He got to know the problem immediately and said, "I have a very easy solution to your problem. For that, you just need to find a completely happy man from your country and take out his shirt and come here with it." The king said, "This is very easy task, as in my kingdom everyone is happy. I will bring one very soon." With this, the king and his ministers returned to his kingdom. The next day, the king called his ministers and said, "Give me your shirt. You must be happy. After all, you live in such a big kingdom." But all the ministers said, "No, my lord, we are not happy. How can we be happy if our king is not happy?" So the king announced, "Whoever is happy, and if he gives his shirt to the king, then he will be rewarded with enormous amount of wealth. But if he proves to be wrong, then he will be punished." So the king's soldiers contacted the biggest actor of the country. But the actor said, "I am not completely happy." He said, "How can I be happy? Because I have fear of losing my number one position from the new actors." Disappointed soldiers now went to many successful merchants and businessmen, but they too were unable to give their shirts, as they said, "How can we be happy? As we always tried to make our business the biggest of all. We want that only our goods demand remains in the market." So listening to this feedback obviously increased the tension of the king. Until now, he was only unhappy, but now he had tension too, because he saw that absolutely nobody is happy in his town, as the king was very good and always wanted his people to be happy. But the soldiers continued to find for the happy man. In the afternoon, when the sun was in the middle of the sky, heat was at its peak, 2 soldiers were going on a road and they asked a man for water, who seemed to be a poor daily wage laborer along with his bull cart. The poor man asked, "What are you doing here in such a heat?" The soldier replied, "We are looking for a happy man who has absolutely no worries, as our king wants to meet him." The poor man said, "Yes, I am happy. I have no worries, no tension at all." The soldier said, "Then come with us to meet the king." Poor man replied, "I don't want to meet anyone. If someone wants to meet me, ask him to come here." The soldier looked at him astonishingly. They said, "You will be rewarded a lot of wealth which you never saw before, so come with us." The poor man said, "Just go from here. Ask your king if he wants to meet me. Come here. Every afternoon I stay here under the tree." So the soldiers returned to the kingdom disappointedly and told everything to the king. The next day, the king's minister went over there, but they returned empty-handed too. Now the king himself goes over there with many soldiers and ministers. He asked the poor man, "Are you happy?" The man said, "Yes, brother, I am happy." The king said, "Please give me your shirt then." The poor man laughed and said, "I don't have any shirt." The king asked, "How can a man be happy if he doesn't even have a single shirt? Please tell me the secret of your happiness. If you tell me the secret, I will make you extremely wealthy. you will be more happier then. The poor man replied, only a stupid person can tempt for wealth to a happy man. The poor man said, O king, come tomorrow, I will tell you tomorrow. The king returned and came again to the poor man in the next day, but again he was returned by the poor man. So after a few days, the king alone visited the poor man and asked the same question. This time the poor man said, yes, today you did it right by coming alone. Previously, you came here along with your pride and wealth. King's simplicity is always best. The king asked, what sort of mystery is this? The one who has hundreds of shirts is not happy, but the one who has none is happy. The poor man said, King, the source of happiness is not in this shirt, but the self. The one who realizes that happiness lies within does not require external means to be happy. The king said, but the mind always chases external objects to find happiness. The poor man said, that's why the one who realizes the blissful nature of his self stops chasing objects. Bliss is the nature of the self. The self is infinite, so bliss too is infinite. Being the nature of the self, one loves oneself every moment. Have you ever wondered when one gets old, ill, when one's sense organs begin to fail, death starts knocking at the door, one still wishes to live on? Why? Because everyone loves oneself every moment, all the time. If misery was the nature of the self, would anyone love oneself so much? Have you ever wondered why sometimes one thinks of committing suicide? What is the thought of committing suicide? Driven by emotions, why does a person wish to end the mind, intellect, body? Because it is only the thought of suicide too expresses only love for the self. When one sees no way out of pain or painful situation, out of ignorance, one starts considering suicide as the only way out to end misery. One loves oneself so much that he wants to end his very existence. The king asks, if bliss is inside, then why does a person run after the external world? The man replied, because he loves himself. Whatever a person desires, be it money or power, wife, husband or son, these are just means which one desires for the sake of one's own happiness. A person gives up even the most cherished object or relationship if that object or relationship becomes the cause of misery. That is why one loves oneself the most of all. No matter who the person is, whether the path of worldliness or renunciation, has done it only for the sake of his own self. Such love for the one's own self, that is either the whole world or no world at all. Such love for oneself is the proof of the blissful nature of the self. If it was not so, one would have loved misery. Because of our ignorance, we are not aware of our blissful nature. So we keep on chasing the material world or things in the hope of that they would give us small joys. It is just as if the one who is owner of pleasures consider himself to be a beggar and hopes to get it from others. This is the power of ignorance. O king, the joy from relationships or objects is not permanent, but the bliss of the self is boundless. Whenever we see a beloved person or object, we feel happy. When we get it, it gets increased. But when we separated from that, our pleasure ended. So this joy or pleasure is not permanent, but the bliss of the self is permanent and infinite. The king asked, but why I am unable to experience this eternal bliss of the self? The man said, if you shut your eyes, you are bound to see only darkness. As long as you keep only looking at the body, mind, world, objects, feelings, thoughts, or interests, you will not be able to experience that eternal, infinite, or absolute. In that, mistake lies not with the self, but with our vision. So, my dear king, if you wish happiness, look within and not outside.